Alright, Rule 36, disposition fraction computing rates. Computing rate based on multiple proportional and another rate specified in creep with non-compliance to any classification requirements following with a government disposition of fraction less than 1/2 or 50, 0.5 is cent omit, fraction 1/2 or 0.50 cent greater in creep with the next whole figure. Alright, carload, freight and bulk covered hopper. C, rates provided with a freight and bulk with a covered hopper cars do not obligate the carrier to furnish covered hopper cars. Rule 37 is not applicable to Kansas intrastate traffic, Nebraska intrastate traffic, nor Texas intrastate traffic notes. Not applicable to the account of BNSF, BNML, IC, and NS. Applicable non-account with the CSB, DKS, UP, except will apply with the following articles: adipocate acid X SDCC 28186 sodium silicon alumini X SDC 28199 caprylocodium aluminum fluoride electrobinder boric acid monoamine carbon deactivated and plastic materials. For account of the CSB with the provisional rule, will articles named above not only apply with the connection move with the Union Pacific, except otherwise specifically shown in the SDCC number referred to, shall embrace all articles assigned and additional digits listed under example, the SDC number 22941 embraces all the articles covered numbers greater than number of digits beginning with the SDC number 22941. Alright, Rule 38, application of commodity rates and versus class rates. Unless otherwise provided applicable tariffs, there's no effect for the commodity rate with a given shipment of the rate, and no class must be applied except for the rates, either the class or commodity specified designated applicable only in import, export, counterclockwise, intraclockwise, intracoastal. Shipments must be applied with such shipments to the exclusion of all of the rates but not designated. Rule 38 is not applicable in the Florida intrastate traffic. Or explosive other hazardous material. Rule 39. Explosive with other hazardous material will be only handled with the transported by the C Note 2 for this item. Rail carriers party for the classification according to the rules regulations prescribed by the Department of Transportation, published by Agency Keller, tariff number BOE 6000. Series motor carriers party for the classification according to the rules regulations prescribed by the Department of Transportation, published by Agency Keller, tariff number BOE 6000. Series for the account of the motor carriers part, therefore the account of the other motor carriers are published in Motor Carrier Safety Regulation Explosives, except Volume 6, page 6211, Volume 7, page 2910 of the Federal Registry. Water carriers party to the classification according to the rules regulations prescribed by the Commandment, United States Coastal Guard. The packaging of the danger article with the other hazardous material must comply with the rules, regulation, packaging specifications set forth the classification, all rules, regulations, packaging specification prescribed in the Department of Transportation, published by Agency L. Keller, tariff numbers BOE 6000, Series C Note 1, articles indicating the explosive hazardous material regulations of the Department of Transportation, Agency Keller, tariff number BOE 6000 series must be described in bill of the landing shipping order with the shown with the tariff. Abbreviations must not be used with such a description. Refer to the tariff description with a connection with the applicable rate published. The tariff description must also show the billing of landing shipping orders immediately following with the basic description required by the hazardous material regulation. When unloading performed, consignor or consignee agent for the consignor or the consignee agents must be reported promptly release of the equipment, including rail carriers, trackers, containers delivered, carriers instant, broken, leaking, defective containers, hazardous material shipment received by them. Explanation notes. Note 1. Over the traffic of the beef of the can handling transportation with explosive or other hazardous material must also comply with the general order directive protective directions issued by the Federal Minister of the Transportation. Note 2, applicable to the account of the IEC, except for the otherwise provided in item 1205 of the tariff IEC 9000 series. Alright, 40, shipping containers. Section 1, boxes made with the metal wood, except for the provided in Rule 41, provided in Section 1B, 1B, C, D, and with the solid, closely fitted side, end of the top of the bottom, securely fastened, other hydraulically pressed wooden cane fiberboard not less than 1/8 of an inch thick, all ends of the side and the top of the bottom frame with the wooden strips strapped and stitched from the edge of each panel. The panels exceed 24 inches of the must be and reinforced with the center with the wood strips and cleats. Box with the wooden frames, fiberboard boxes. Wooden frames must meet the following requirements. Fiberboard must meet the requirements of Section 2 and 3, Rule 41 with the fiberboard testing not less than 2,000 pounds except board not less than 225,000 pounds. Boxes need not to comply with the weight and dimensions limited to the section specified in Section 3 of the Rule 41. Wooden cleats not less than 16th of an inch thick, not less than 68 hundredths of the square inch cross-sectional area. Each panel must be a single sheet of the fiber board, except for the panel longer within 60 inches of the two more sheets that may be either provided butted together, securely spliced. Any face of the facing of the box may be made entirely of the wood. Fiber board must be firmly glued to cleats thoroughly entire the area of the contact with the side of solid fiber board or B flute with the C flute double face corrugated fiber board. You've made and attached the cleat with the nails staggered, clinched in two parallel rows. No rows not less than 1/2 inch or metal staple is being with the wire no more smaller than 550 thousandths of an inch in diameter placed diagonally. Length of the cleats. Staples must have crowns not less than 1/2 inch and prongs not less than 7/8 of an inch were not clinched. Nails and staples must not be less than 38 of an inch from the edge of the cleat. Where the cleats are 2 inches or more in width, the staples must be driven and staggered in two parallel rows. Maximum spacing nails and staples not exceeding 4.5 inches of solid board, 3 inches from B flute and C flute double-sided face corrugated fiber board. Wooden end boxes, solid fiber board used in making boxes. Wooden end must not be less than 4 piles. Outer facing fiber board must be waterproof. Wooden thickness of the fiber board specification must be as follows: maximum weight of pounds consent, and maximum thickness for the fiber board, maximum KD Mullen test per square inch, and maximum thickness for the ends. Nails with large heads of 3D, heavier of space no more than 3 inches apart, required at each end of the overlap body piece of not less than 1/2 of the width of the body over the box. Section 2, crates must be made of the metal of the wood, must be so constructed the crate may be taken in and out of the car of the vehicle within the crate. The crates must protect the contents, the side end of the top and bottom. Contents must be procure or protect the crates. No part of the contents shall be protruded. Surface liable to be damaged must be fully protected. Wooden crates or other wooden wire-bound crates must be constructed as follows. The lumber must be well seasoned, reasonable sound, free of the bad cross grains, knots would interfere with the nailing, stapling. Knots which are greater than 1/3 of the width of the lumber. The crates must be constructed with the outer framework consisting of the upright horizontal member, the additional diagonal upright horizontal member necessary to provide proper strength and rigidity. Crates must be constructed with 3-way lock corners or similar corner construction where the members will be joined, nail and staple driven with the side of the grain adjoining members. All joining crates must be fastened and double nailed. Their stapling, pails, firkins, stits, and tubs. Section 3, pails, firkins, kits, and stubs must be made of wood, indurated fiber, or steel, except for the provided in Rule 51 when made with wood or indurated fiber. Heating of the top. Heading of the tops must be made with wood, metal, securely held within plate with the head of the liners, hoops, and cement coated nails, metal bands, strap wires, fasteners. Articles lost from fitting, sifting, leakage, and must be in back cans, cartons, and impaled firkin tubes must be lined with a tough paper, cloth, liquid. Articles not dried and will not be accepted in indurated fiber, pails, firkins, kits, or tubs. Or barrels, casks, drums, hogsheads, kegs, terraces, etc. Section 4, barrels, casks, drums, hogsheads, kegs, terraces, similar containers must be made of aluminum or steel or wood. See Section 5 and 6 of the cord, fiber, rubber combined. Section 7.5 or is plastic. Section 7, 4 or 7.25 fiber arms provided in Rule 51. Drums except for the made with a cord, fabric with rubber with combined and defined in cylindrical containers without the bilge or without bail or handle. Specification shipping containers explode for the other hazardous material prescribed by the Department of Transportation Agent CL's Keller's Tariff BOE 6000 series barrels, drums, kit, pails, aluminum, steel. Section 5, except for otherwise provided with a separate description of the article, the following definition given: the aluminum barrel of the drum, with the seal of the drums, and kit for the pail for the freighting, ship container with the empty with the fill of the barrel, drum with a container with 5-gallon capacity, over with it without the bale, drums exceeding 165 gallons capacity will not be accepted with the freight ship container. Kit and pails contain less than 5 gallons capacity for the bales and except for the filters needed but not to have the bales. Number 2, barrel drums, kit, pails will have an authorized separate description of the article. Shipping of the container must comply with the following requirements except the single trip containers provided within paragraph D of the regulation. The Department of Transportation Agent CL Keller's Tariff number BOE 6000 series with the transportation explosive for the hazardous material specification. Shipping is thereon may be observed. Rated mark capacity for the steel barrels and drum kits, pails, and see paragraph H. Minimum thickness of steel using solid dry articles other than single trip. See note 1 for other dry solid articles. Number 1, capacity aluminum barrels, drums, and without steel kits. Thickness of the barrels and BS in the gauge numbers. Alright, barrel, drums, kits, pails, and aluminum, steel. Continue. Note 1. The term dry solid is defined with referring only to the article with a dry solid temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The note of the ball A bale is a handle extending completely across the top of the container attached to the side. Note 3, a steel drum and barrels or drum having the 18 to 20 gauge size and must be containing other of the dry, solid air article. See Note 1, provided with the container, they have 2 or more expanding rolling hoops in the sidewall center boom clearance of 1/8 of an inch from the floor with empty Note 4, closed head steel drum rated capacity of over 35, including 57,000 gallons may be the container other than dry, solid article. Receiving Note 1, made of a steel not thinner than 24 gauge, provided with a continuous parallel geometrical smell or circumferential beads explained with an entire height over the side wall. Surface length with the steel axle direction not changing more than 1%. Head of the bombs must be in corrugation with the beating and without convexity. Each chime might be reinforced with an 18 gauge steel band that is an integral part of the double seam, resulting in chimney chime cross section containing the 8 layers of steel. The reinforced band with the valve supporting knuckle radius, head bottom, the inside of the edge. Upper term does not contact with the adjacent portion of the head bottom or bottom drums may not be loaded with made in single terrier. Alright, Note 5. Top and head cover may be constructed with an injection mold with a high-density polyethanol, propylethol, homopolyethanol, copolymer. Heavy minimum thickness for the 90,000 inch top covers must have at least 2 concentric rings not less than 3/8 of an inch depth, except for the cover the minimum thickness of 125,000 inch cover that have the concentric ring. For liquids, liquids cover the more effective liquid type seal. The coverage may be securely closed by a levered and bolted lock ring, endless band, rolled band sideways cover chime, and the band ring must be thinner than 22 gauge metal. Alright, your single trip container, single trip aluminum steel bearer with the drum and the kit for the pail with maybe with the shipping container only with the dry and solid with the article with the Note 1, single movement when you with the maximum capacity for the container, paragraph A and B must be observed with no thickness within metal with the prescribed there, maybe unbear initial SCC, signifying the single trip containers are not to be again the shipping containers are after contents have been removed with the following initial shipment. Single trip containers comply with the specification for the such containers agency Keller's tariff number BOE 6000 series. May be used more than single movement in liquid, dry, solid article is not subject for the Department of Transportation regulation and transportation explosive other hazardous material provided to comply with requirements of Section 5 of this rule. Alright, fasten over the caps and cover the plug for the top of the cap, cover the plug for the top of the must be made with the metal. Synthetic plastic for the must be securely fastened filled packages must be proof against leakage, sifting, closed capture no greater than 3.5 inches. In diameter, maybe metal thinner with the prescribed the head with the container that on drum, the cover the 20 gallon with include 57 gallon with the lug with the cover closed with no greater than 1.11 diameter of the maybe metal thickener. The prescribed the head container provided that they are equipped with gasket steel not less than 16 lug with the manufacturer's steel not less than 20 gauge thickness. Name etc. of the manufacturer be shown. All shipping barrels, drum of the kit, the pail, for the freight containers must be with the manufacturer name and identifying symbol of the trademark with the manufacturer loop with the manufacturer's name in which symbol trademark must be registered with the National Railroad Freight Committee with the gauge of the metal, with the thickness, part, capacity of the container, year of the manufacturer. These abbreviated then must be appeared with the order of the specified. An example, the 1855-86 will signify the containers made with the 18 gauge of metal, 55 gallon capacity, made in 1986 with the gauge of metal. The value for the differ than that with the head must be indicated with the slanting line with between the gauge for the body with the indicated first. For example, the 20, 18, 55, 56 body, 20 gauge, A head, 18. A optional thickness of the metal may be expressed in millimeters marked closely with the English equivalent as popular of the year of the manufacturer. The marks are abbreviated. They must be repeated specified in 194 year with the signified with the container made with a steel thickness of 1.1 millimeters and made with the year of the 1994. This gives the metal melting with the head of the bottom of the 3 thickness for the must be indicated with a slash mark between the thickness of the head indicated with the first. For example, 118.8 110 98 millimeters by thickness for the head, 111 millimeter thickness by the bottom, 1 millimeter thickness. The inscription must be plainly durable marked on the container or plainly secured brave with the welded soldered end there in 2 letters legible not less than 1/4 of an inch in height. These requirements will not less than a steel shipping barrel, the drum, the kit, the pails of the manufacturer, the foreign container country. The shipping order, the billing landings must be bear over the following certificate of steel shipping barrel with the drum, kit, pail for the U of the shipment there form manufacturer conform with the construction requirements of Rule 40, Section 5. When a steam drum of the barrel has reconditioned for the ship container, the reconditioning part of the chain that were made with the altered with the original construction of the party making stuff of the chain may indicate with the name of the identify the symbol of the trademark on such containers. With the symbol of the trademark must be registered for the National Railroad Freight Company. The marking must be plainly durable, made with a pencil, painting stencil similar meaning, but it must be plainly secured with the welded slider there too. The letters are legible, not less than 1/4 of an inch height. But identified with the name, the symbol of the trademark, the manufacturer previously reconditioner must be removed. The obliterated unless such name the symbol of identification marks embossed affixed to the plate in such a manner that the removal of the obliteration is not practical. Alright, barrel drum kits, pails, aluminum and steel concluded, rated mark capacity for the steel drum kits for the pail of the provided paragraph C with the indicated rated with the mark capacity. All steel drum kits and pails of the dry solid article with the minimum actual capacity of the not less than the rated mark capacity of 2%, maximum actual capacity no greater than the rated mark capacity of 3%, rated with the capacity of 2%, and the less than 1/4 wherever it's greater. All steel barrels, kits, and otherwise dry solid articles have the minimum actual capacity not less than the rated with the capacity of 4%, maximum actual capacity not greater than rated capacity of 5%, rated mark capacity of 4%, 1 plus 1 quart, whichever is greater. Alright, steel drum is molded 1 piece of polyethanol insert. Section 5.5 requires limitation specifications set forth in the table to check for the number of the type of the shown, but thereby with observe the minimum requirement of the table. The steel drum overpack body, bottom and top of the head with the cover covered with the weight of the content of the first column with the capacity of the second column, which limitation of the column with the higher minimum requirements. Gallonage capacity of the net, but sufficient outage must be provided with the containers must be initial with the STC with the single trainer. Single transportation container, single design the trip container that must be contained with the shipment with the liquid article of the container that may have been removed with the containers. Closing device required by the interior protection. Such condition will protect with the contents sufficiently with the new containers. Drums filled with the net capacity of the water will chain with the leakage of the tip over the fall of concrete on the cover chimes filled with the diagonal drop at the bottom shoe. Sufficient to provide at least 500 foot-pounds of impact, except for the minimum height with the drop. It should not exceed 2 feet with the minimum height with the drop not less than 1 foot. And then go over the table of authorized containers, maximum limit, minimum requirements of U.S. standard gauge, body, bottom, top, and reinserted method of closure, weight, contents, capacity in gallons. Alright, section 5.5, continue to note 1, type 4A, steel drums must have the full removable top cover the screw with the locking device or without metal plastic plug with clap and closure. No more than 2 closures, no longer than 2 and 3 inches for the permitted cover. That must be equipped with a rubber reinstilled plastic gaskets and fed with the liquid steel. And the steel's drop must be designed not less than 3 rolling hoops. The steel drums must be equipped with a molded oval, open-headed, semi-rigid polyethanol insert conform with the drum contour. Minimum thickness insert shall be 5 to 15 thousandths of an inch and conform with the following thicknesses. Location, the minimum thickness of the plastic liners, location with the liner, seen plastic liner, minimum thickness, seen sketch, not over 30 gallons, over 30 gallons, but not over 55 gallons. Note 2B, the type 4B and 4BH for the steel drums must be tight in the head for the construct the full removable heads to overcover the screw with the locking device with or without plastic plug with caps, closure, opening top head to permit polyethanol, insert neck flange, protrude not more than 2 closures, not exceeding 2 3 inches with inches more than 2 openings, neck flange of the permitted with the top of the head cover. The steel drums must be equipped with a molded closed head polyethanol insert having no more than 2 closures, opening in the top head no longer than 2/3 3 inches of the thickness. They will be meet the following schedule. Molded polyethanol insert closed head type, minimum thickness inches. Note 3, the type 4A, 4BL, 4BH molded polyethanol insert steel drums equipped with the semi-rigid polyethanol inserts shall be molded to full open and obstructing conforming the requirements of type 4A. Molded closed head construction having not more than 2 openings to the top of the head no larger than 2-3 inches and conforming with the requirements of 2-4BL and 4BH, and survey should be made in polyethanol, which is the following procedure: melt index, density, tensile shrink, personal elongation. Note 4, top of the head cover may be constructed injection molded high density polyethanol having the minimum thickness of 125 thousandths or 1 or more concentric rings not less than 3/8 of an inch depth. For liquid articles, liquid must be in the tight seal, but must be securely closed by leather bolted locking ring, endless band, rolled bolt, bond sidewall, cover chime. Band ring must be not thinner than 22 gauge metal. All right, barrels, hogheads, kegs, ties, or similar containers, other drum, wooden. Section 6 for the ends must be circular with the groove of the crow to the hoops, and the container that you with the article is not liable for the loss of the leakage sifting at the ends of the 1/2 inch more thick. Ends may be countersunk sent below the groove of the crow, but must be secured with the two more battens extending the complete across the ends of the battens nailed with the side of the containers ends that have been played with the headliners. Section 7. The drum woodens include fiberboard covered veneer drum with wooden drum with other dry solid articles. Drums must be watertight side shelved. Must be more than 3 or more piles of veneer having the total thickness of not less than a quarter inch of each of the ply must overlap with the other distributed seam of the pile that must be firmly glued together cross grain. And must be not less than 1/2 inch made of one piece of wood, 3 or more ply with the veneer family glued together cross grain. End must be sealed tightly, secured with glues to the side. Others further secured with the metal wooden hoops encircling the drum fastened with the nails not more than 6 inches apart, driven through the side of the edge of the wooden inner hoop so fitted with the glued top of the bottom to provide tightness so opening end that must be closed with a tightening fitting bone with the securely fastened. Drums must not be used to contain with liquid solvent material used to make them waterproof. Drums authorized other than the dry solid articles may be used in dry articles. Wooden drums for dry and solid articles. Drums with hoops may be constructed under the following method. Drums may have the side shelf not less than quarter inch thick, except for the note one. The inside of the loops have must be flange, wooden, and plywood are into the use. Fitting snugly and shelf the flange resting with the edge of the shelf. The ends must not be more than 2 pieces of the clothes fitted with the prevent shafting more tightly bonded to the shell with the flange metal hoop. The fitting down over the heads around the shell must be securely fastened to the shell. Top and the bottom cover heads may be made with a not less than 28 gauge steel provided with the sewing ends of the shell and the rest in the groove at the bottom of the must be securely fastened to the sidewall headed with the shell with a staple not less than 18 gauge, no more than 4 inches apart. The top must be securely fastened to the sidewall headed with the shell must not be less than 3 staples, not less than 14 gauge, not less than 3 metal clips, not less than 20 gauge, securely fastened sidewall projector outer edge of the cover, the fastened forming clip over the outer edge of the groove. Metal wooden hoops must be completely encircled with the drum with the firmly attached to the side, but not more than 6 inches of the part, except for the side of the made of 2 more plies for the veneer, securely fastened together with the cross grain of the end of the hoop. The only required side must be wood. 2 more ply with the veneer securely fastened together with the cross grain. Wooden hoops are fastened to the drum and the stapled no more than 4 inches apart, with the staple running through the hoop. The plies veneer clinched on the inside of each of the ply of the veneer, overlapping others, so the distributed seam of the veneer do not need to be cross grained. Note 1: when drums are made of beech, birch, elm, gum, and hard maple, the requirements of paragraph A may be varied as follows. The diameter drum of the must not exceed 17 inches side must be not less than 16 inch thick. The diameter of the drum exceeding 17 inches side must not be less than 1/5 of an inch thick. When made with a beech, berm, and hard maple plies inside need of the cross grain and just overlap. Sides must be plywood made not less than 3 inch piles. Beech, berm, elm, gum, hard maple, veneer. Total thickness not less than 3/30 of an inch. Grain outside pile with this must be parallel to the deep of the drum. Drums must comply with the provision table. Weight with not exceeding pounds. The minimum thickness veneer and shell inches. Minimum thickness veneer and heads inches. Minimum thickness for cleats and bottom tops inches. Minimum cleat in the widest point. And must be made of veneer above the named woods, not less than 3 ply. Thickness prescribed. The table to reinforce softwood rims not less than 4 segment dimensions prescribed in the table with the rim nailed plywood nails clinch. The outside segment end must be fastened to the side of the nails and stapled to the outside with a seal and wooden hoop. Alright, section 7 concluded drums with a hoop. The drum with the hoops must have the side of the made of 3 or more ply with the veneer having its whole thickness of the not less than a quarter inch. Each ply must overlap the other. The distributed seam of the ply must firmly glue together and cross grain. End must not be less than a 1/2 inch thick. Made of 1 piece of wood, 3 or more ply with the veneer firmly glued together. With the cross grain must be securely fastened to the side open end. That must be closed with a tightening fitting bone securely glued and further secured with the nails and stapled in strips. Alright, drums made of fiber board covered with a veneer, or for the dry solid liquid. Drum dry with a solid article made with a fiber covered veneer, made with the fiber board covered with a veneer with not less than 82 thousandths of an inch thick. Must comply with the following requirements. Material consisting of the veneer wood covered with liner must be size of 100% sulfate cylindrical craft fiber board, not less than 16 thousandths of an inch weight, not less than 60 pounds, 100 square feet. Firmly glued veneer outer line waterproof. Each liner must be not less than 200 pounds. But the grain of the 2 outer lines must be crossed with the veneer. The veneer core cover consists of more than 1 piece of the joint, with the 2 pieces must be taped before fiberboard liners are glued. Drums must comply with the provision in following table. Material forming the shell body must consist of no more than 2 feet of the muscle lap of the joint with not less than 2 inches of the firmly glued through the entire area with the contact firmly fastened. The staple of stitches staggered with the intervals not more than 2.5 inches. If the joints glued in strips of the fiberboard covered with veneer not less than 2 inches wide must be firmly stapled on one edge of the joint, forming the socket in which one other glued pieces fit. The ends may be made with the same material shell with the nail with the rim made of the 4 cleats fastened together with corrugated fastened nails long enough to go through the bottom of the fiberboard covered with the veneer cleats and clinch to the outside of the head of the fiberboard covered with the veneer disc of the domestic enter with the groove inside of the edge of the cleat, thus the groove of the being not less than a half inch in depth. End must be made of solid lumber with the same thickness of the specified cleats, provided with more than one piece of the even head. The jaw joints must be must be matched glued. No cleats made of the even solid lumber ends, and must be tightly fitted with the shell. The hoops made of the steel fiberboard covered veneer must be placed at each end of the outside shell. Must be fastened out through the steel shell wooden cleats and with the shape of the nails not more than 2.5 inches apart. With the drums must be certified with the drum maker showing that they conform to this rule. Certificate must be for the following form, size, and type of the wording. Certificate maker of the drum made with the fiberboard covered with veneer conforms all with the construction requirements of uniform freight classification, bursting test of pounds per square inch, weight of the contents pounds. Insert maker's name and address. When shippers attend the transportation fiberboard covered veneer drum with conforming the requirement specification of the rule, shippers must certify the shipping order bill of landing of the file with the fiber covered board veneer drums due to the shipment they conform with the specifications set forth in the drum marker maker's certificate thereon. All other requirements of Rule 40 of the uniform freight classification. Section 714 part drum pails molded polyethanol. Section 1 and 7 1/4 part 1 closed head drums. Except otherwise provided in the description article of the agency Keller tariff number BOE 6000 series referred to the Rule 39 with the following requirement specification complying with the rate of applying with the combined with the barrel drums will apply with the same combined with the polyethanol drum. The character of the combined must be combined drum capability of the nature of material requirement. The specification drums must be made polyethanol following property of the determine the American Society testing materials per method designated test shall be performed in plastic additives. The melt index density range tensile strength prolongation. Note 1 drums manufacturing injection model 2 piece of the weld. The construction may have a melt index of 10.5 maximum. Construction drums must be clothed with a hedge construction complying with the following requirements. Rated marked gasoline minimum thickness in inches. Drums have not more than 2 openings with the top head, but they can exceed 2.7 inch diameter. The closure of them must be made material compatible. The compatible capacities must be adequate to prevent leakage. No 2 material thickness with not down 90,000 inch minimum. Local areas provided with the drum can withstand the drop of the test specified in paragraph F1 of the directly in such areas. Capacity drums have the minimum actual capacity not less than rated marked capacity of the plus 4%. Maximum actual capacity must not be greater than rated marked capacity of the 15% of the drum. The 15 gallons must greater than the rated with the capacity of the 10% of the containers of 15 gallons and over. Identification. Drums must be bear with the manufacturer's name and identification symbol of the trademark including the manufacturer's name and the which symbol of the trademark must be registered to the National Freight Committee. The capacity of the gallons rated of the manufacturer. The inscription must be marked in the drum with the letters numeral, durable, and not less than 1/4 inch thick. In height, performance requirements. Minimum of the 3 samples of the drum with the selected random fill that is specified prepared with the shipment. They must be capable of withstanding the following performance standards without leakage or permanent deformation. No single drum will be required to withstand more than one test. Drum filled with 98% of the capacity of the wire. Other solution required with the liquid at 0 degrees Fahrenheit compatible with the polyethanol should be dropped diagonally to the top of the edge for the height of the 4 feet on the solid concrete. Dropped from a height of 4 feet on the solid concrete or any other part of the drum. Material thickness less than specified in paragraph C. The drum must not show pressure drop evidence of leakage or subject with a hydrostatic pressure of at least 15 psi with the equilibrium period of 5 minutes. The drum filled over 98% of the capacity must withstand the static compression test indicated below the rated capacity indicated the buckling side of the wall is sufficient to cover the damage, but in no case shall the top of the bottom deflect and be more than 1 inch. The compression shall be applied with the bloating bearing area of the top of the drum of not less than 48 hours. Alright, drum and pails model ethanol, section 1/4, part 1, conclude closed head drum. The drum filled with 98% of the capacity must withstand the vibration test for 1 hour with the amplitude frequency covered the drum to be ready with the tape of the vibration test machine sufficient and enable the piece of the tape with the flash strap of the tape of the path between the drum and the table. Drum must be secured with the tape of the vibration testing machine in such a manner that the horizontal motion is restricted, only vertical motion allowed. Section 1.4, Part 2, open head pails. Unless otherwise provided with a separate description and article that has hazardous material regulation and agent, the CE color tariff, the BOE 6000 here, refer to Rule 939 with the following with the minimum requirement specification to comply with the rating of the rates for the ratings that apply with the articles combined with the barrel drum, the kits, and pail will also apply with the same article combined with the plastic open head pail with the characteristic combined must be such that the shipping container combined with they are compatible with over the nature of the specification. The plastic injection mold with the open head pail with the fluid capacity from 1 to 70 gallons and intent for the use of the transportation non-hazardous combined with liquid solid paint for the granular powder form. Construction and marking requirements. Construction material thickness for the given location of the container must be appropriate with the capacity to cover the closure of the vent disc devices, sealing gasket for the bail for the handle for the maybe the manufacturer for the material for the other plastic cover the container that must be sealed with the use of the cover that's securely and rendering leak proof or transported. Bales or carrying handles must be firmly secured with the pail with an effort to provide, but they must be able to support the container when filled with the rate of the maximum gross weight. Outages. Insufficient outage ullage and headspace must be exist in the container once it is filled. The container marketing each pail must be durable, legal, legibly marked with the following information: the bail manufacturer name, the identifying symbol of the trademark, the year of the load, the manufacturer actual name, the intent of the fluid capacity expressed in gallons and liters, the year of the manufacturer. The manufacturer may elect to mark each pail with the letters NRC to signify the non-reusable container. Our performance requirements for this purpose, the standard combined with the fail on the two type with the liquid and solid and non-liquids and determine they applying with the criteria ASTM D4359 plastic opening head pail with the classified as fell with the pails and temp with the contain with the solid pail with the tested liquid is specified with the made with the packaged liquid with the pail with the intent with the contain with the liquid and solid with the pails with the tested liquid with the weight with the expressed liquids under specification even the packaged solid weight with the further testing provided with the gross weight with the expressed in kilogram with does not exceed with the flat rate fluid capacity expressed in liters container the material that cannot be used in packaged liquid is left to retest for the liquid additional container with the differ for the only regard for the additive surface the treatment the reduction rated fluid capacity with less than 30% of the air trap of the open closure. The fittings do not require the testing provided with it to yield the same level of performance with the container that were originally tested. The following test procedures must be used to test and qualify the container with the specific laboratory performance. Drop test. Allow 6 containers to cool at 73 degrees plus or minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit with a minimum of 24 hours after they are molded before they are filling them marked with the paste capacity anti-freeze solution. Testing for the liquids contained with the intent with the gross weight with the material similar with the combined with the solid with the seal with the container with the condition filled with the 0 degrees plus or minus 2 degrees Fahrenheit before the dropping them appropriate drop weight with the flat non-resilient surface of 31.5 inches for the drop height of the containers which are being tested relative to the distance does not exceed 1.2 where the drop height with the container finish intent with the liquid will relatively dense for the greater than 1.2 shall be calculated as follows: relative to density 0.667, the drop height expressed in 1 meter or 39.4 inches. Drop 3 container flat side with the remaining 3 containers on top of the bale with the container that not required with withstand one with 1 drop. Continuous leakage setting of the contents. Considerable failure, however, the small discharge of the contents impact with the teeth that immediately show that it should be considered a failure. Alright, 2, the slacking test. All 3 containers cooled with a 73 plus or minus 4 degrees for the minimum of 24 hours molded before filling with the capacity with the testing liquid of the container and intent with the gross weight with the material that is similar with the combined with the solid seal containers, position them on a level surface before applying with the appropriate static load for the calculated travel load to impound with a 118 height with the container with the inches minus 1 and the gross weight with the container with a 1.5 correction factor with the dynamic load. The test should be conducted at temperature with 70 degrees plus or minus 2 degrees Fahrenheit. The top of load with the not exceed 600 pounds load must be applied with the main with the simulate the actual strength encountered during the normal tacking conditions. Load must be maintained for 48 hours without evidence any sign of the collapsible instability variable deflection container that immeasurable the inner load shall not exceed 5% of the original height of the container. Additional number of the containers may leak when they are placed on their side of collusion with stacking test. However, the containers should be allowed to remain upright position 40 to 30 minutes and once they load is removed before placing them on the side of inspecting leakage. Alright, drums and pails molded polyethanol section 7 and a quarter part 2 open head pails concluded. In the event of the container fails to meet one or more of the preceding performance requirement, 3 additional containers may be tested in identical manner exhibiting any sign of the failure. For the failure, any of the 3 additional containers may indicate the lot of the project for the corrective action should be taken with the rail manufacturer. Section 7 and a quarter part 3 removal of the head drum. Except for the otherwise provided with a separate description article of the agent CE Keller tariff, the number is BOE 6000 series referred to the Rule 39 with the following requirement specification complied with the rail Rates applying with the commodity for the barrel drums applying with the same commodity for the polyethanol drum. The character of the commodity must have such commodity drum that are capable of the nature and material requirements specification. Drums must be made of polyethanol. Have the following property determined. American side of the testing materials per method. The name of the test also performing the plastic additive is included. Note 1. Drums manufacture rotational molding with the may have the metal index of 6.5 maximum density for the range of the 0.93,000 to 965 thousandths. Having the minimum tensile strength of 250,000 2,500 psi. The note the drum is manufactured injection hole that may have the metal index of 10.5 maximum minimum tensile strength of 2,500 psi. Your drum construction. Drum body, integral body with the must be one piece of the molded construction body with the extruded tubular constructed and securely joined with the bottom heads of beam with a welded polyethanol chime with the metal chime. Fully removal of the top head must be made with the molded polyethanol so collective the drum body with the means of the metal ring and equipped with the locking mechanism for the overcloak with any of the method material design contingent with the scaffold diagonal drop of the series of 3 to 3 drum filled with the commodity with the sand solvent dust mixture with the substitute with the solid concrete with the height of the 30-inch for the top chime. Weakest part with the closure for the evidence for the leakage of the failure capacity and material construction must be also rated and marked in capacity with gallons minimum material thickness. Note 3. 90,000 maximum thickness for the local area for the rotational mold of the drum, but the note provided with the drum can be withstand with the drop type as specified in paragraph E. Note 4 with the 225,000 inch minimum thickness required with the sidewall drum thickness manufacturer rotational molding. Identification drums must be manufacturer's name, identification symbol, the trademark, limited manufacturer's name, the symbol of the trademark must be registered with the National Railroad Freight Committee with the capacity of the gallons for the manufacturer. The inscription must be marked with the drum letters, number, rules legible, durable, not less than a quarter inch in height. The performance requirement of the following tests required for the removal of the head contained with the drum fed with the capacity, net capacity with the wire must stand. Leakage of the tip, overfall with the concrete of the coverage current chime with the valve with the diagonal drop of the bottom chime with sufficient to provide at least 500 pounds with the impact except with the maximum height of the drop should not exceed 2 feet with the 2 and the minimum height with the drop less than 1 foot. Alright, your drums and bulk shipping containers, cord fabric, rubber, combined section 7.5. The drums must be made of the copper cord fabric, the rubber contained with the fabric must be not less than 5.5 ounces per square yard. That have the tensile strength of not less than 275 pounds per inch, not less than 2 pounds of the cord fabric must be each with the ply embedded with the rubber sufficient thickness to provide the whole wall thickness of not less than 9/64 of an inch. And drum does not exceed 55 gallons capacity. The carload containers made with the specification exceeding 55 gallon capacity are authorized with the carload. Shipment the articles provided in the barrel of the drum. The molded 1 piece of polyethanol drum, the wire-bound wooden containers, section 3/4, 7 3/4. Rating is applied with the article. The barrel of the drums will apply with the same article with the containers made with the following specification. The 1 molded piece of the polyethanol drum not less than 30,000 of an inch, enclosed with wire-bound wooden to contain the maximum capacity of the polyethanol drum that must not exceed 757 gallons of net weight with the content if not exceeding 800 pounds. Opening with the polyethanol drum larger than 2.3 inch with the not permitted outer container must have 2 holes with the heading with the polyethanol flange to protrude with the net weight not exceeding 70 pounds capacity 5 gallons. Wire-bound containers must be structured with not less than 1.6 inches thick with a have the 3 bound wires each not less than 14 gauge. Alright, one molded 1 piece of polyethanol drum with wire-bound containing with the section 3/4 3 rate applying with the article the barrel with the drum with apply with the same article with the containers meet the final specification concluded for net weights exceeding 70 pounds but not exceeding 220 pounds capacity exceeding 5 gallons but not exceeding 15 gallons. Wire-bound containers must be constructed wood not less than 1/4 inch thick and they must have 4 binding wires each for the not less than 12 gauge. With the net weights for exceeding 220 pounds but not exceeding 375 pounds capacity exceeding 15 gallons but not exceeding 30 gallons. Wire-bound containers must be constructed in the wood not less than 1/4 inch thick, must have 6 binding wires, 2 outer wires not less than 11 gauge, and 4 intermediate wires not less than 12 gauge. For net weights of exceeding 375 pounds, not exceeding 800 pounds, the capacity not exceeding 57 gallon with a weight-bound containers must be constructed wood not less than 3/8 of an inch thick, must have less than 7 binding wires, 2 outer wires not less than 11 gauge, 2 intermediate wires not less than 11 gauge, 3 intermediate wires not less than 12 gauge. 6. The complete unit filled with the capacity of the wood, water with the sand and without leakage. The 2 drop height with the 4 feet with the solid concrete floor with the drop with the made over the flat on the side of the second diagonal on the top shim or chime. Jacketed metal cans, section 8. Metal cans partially jacketed with the must have the fiber board seal, wooden jacket coverage side with the bottom. The metal cans can be completely jacketed, must have the jacket seal with the wooden completely covering the can, except in the mouth of the except for the mouth may have the jacket with the fiber board inside sealed with the wood tops and bottoms completely covering the can except for the mouth. Jacket of the wood must be not less than 1/2 inch thick. 1 and 1/12 of an inch thick. The solid fiber board not less than 100,000 of an inch. The strip of the waterproof. The testing not less than 275 pounds. Jacket must be reinforced not less than 2 wooden hoops. Top and the bottom must be wood not less than a quarter inch thick for 2 pile of veneer not less than a half inch, 1 and 12 inch for the thick, glued together, cross grain. A steel wooden fiber board side of the fasten top of the bottom with a nail strap stapled to the top of the bottoms must not be less than 3/8 of an inch. 6 seams of the cans must secure with the soldered weld of the freight cans can have less than 1 gallon capacity. Did not accept the transportate unless also included barrels, boxes, crates provided with separate description and articles. Alright, your carboys. Section 9. Glass carboys, unless otherwise provided, must be enclosed with a wooden box or a wooden drum. Meet the requirements of the Rule 40 in Section 7 of the wood drums. Solid articles. Carboys. Wooden box must be enclosed with a packing material. The glass will not contain with the contact with the box. For the carboys, wooden drums must not exceed 6.5 gallon capacity. Carboys must adequately cushion bottom of the cork pad with the locks not less than 3/4 of an inch. Sidewall of the carboys must be cushioned and plywood will not be less than 2.5 inches thick over the full height of the body of the carboy. The cushion shall be not shell must be separated with the sidewall of the wood hoop not less than a quarter inch thick with a securely stapled sidewall below of the carboy. Circular 3-ply head with not less than 3.5 inch thick with a 5-inch opening must be secured at the top of the shoulder of the carboy by wooden hoop stapled above the below the head with the next carboy may project with the aperture of the box of the drum without protection. If the carboys have completely enclosed the box drum must be marked in the top of the top load side up. The polyethanol carboys, poly drum, steel drums, metal crate. The polyethanol carboys must have the minimum weight thickness in accordance with the following table. The mark capacity, not in gallons, minimum wall thickness in inches, minimum weight of the pounds, and closing the devices shall be made of the resistant of the landing of the adequate to prevent leakage of polyethanol carboys, polywood drum, steel drum, the metal crates that must also comply with the other requirements of Section 7810, but the Specification 1.5 is Section 7810, 7813 Specification IH, Section 7821 Specification T2, T2T, Section 78131, Specification 37A of the agency, LA, care of tariff, number BOE 6000 series. Next, for the carboys may project with the aperture for the plywood steel drum without protection. If the carboys are completely enclosed, drum must be marked on the top load. This side up, polyethanol carboys must have the minimum weight and thickness of the corns with the following. Mark capacity in gallons, minimum weight wall thickness, inches, the weight of the pounds. Closing device if it shall be made material resistant to the landing of the adequate, preventing the leak of the ethanol carboys enclosed with wooden box glued plywood boxes not less than 3. Plies complying with the enclosed body of the neck carboy completely enclosed with the body of the carboy shall be constructed in such a manner so formed that the inside of the container cannot permanently change the position. Polyethanol cardboard boxes must also comply with the other requirements of Section 78.111 Specification IAG Agent CLE Carrier Tariff B number BOE 6000 series. Alright, bags, Section 10. Unless otherwise provided separate description articles. Where bags are provided separate description articles that are shipped contained with the note reference if they're made with the construction material, with the clothing, the ceiling, they may be for the dry commodities only with the receipt with the note 1, but it must be made with the cloth sufficiently strong with the cloth, fully within safe to care of the content safely preventing sifting other or shall double the bag and sift the outer wall of the cloth with the inner water wall of the cloth paper, the both walls shall be clothed with the material carry with the content with the safety preventing sifting or shall be multiple wallpaper bags conform with the provision of paragraph C. When the individual items referenced with the name with the paragraph of the bags need not comply with the requirements of paragraph C. Such bags must not be bear the bag marker certificate unless they comply with the paragraph C. Alright, multiple wallpaper bags. Multiple wallpaper bags, namely bags have 3 or more walls may be shipping bag craft with the paper meeting of the minimum base of the weight with the test of the requirement contained with the table A and B with the modified note 1 with the extendable shipping bag craft with the paper meeting the minimum base weight with the test of the requirements contained with the table C and D with the modified note 1 for contents of 89 pounds or less. The bags must have the total basis weight of not less than 120 pounds of all the walls. The contents more than 89 pounds, no more than 1,110 pound bags must have the total base weight of not less than 130 pounds, including outer wall base weight not less than 50 pounds. Where the paper bags are designated, the number of the walls authorized. Multiple wallpaper bags within any great number of the walls must be. The bags must be secured closely to secure and content with the safety and preventing sifting. Or shall be at least 2 walls with a high performance shipping sack craft paper meeting the paper strength with the requirement of 3 wall 40 pound extended craft with a 120 pound total base with the table C and D with up to an 89 pound with the product of the 2 wall with a 40 pound 1 wall 50 pound extensive craft. 130-pound total blast weight with up to 110 kilogram of the product. Base of bags must be closed after the carry content safely to prevent shifting. Or for multiple wallpaper bags made of the paper that's described on the table A and B with the allowable compensate with the variation strength with the requirements of valve with the tinkle strength with the lower CD with the tensile strength with not more than 2 units with the multiplied number of the wall within bag with permitted with the provided lower tensile strength with the compensate with the group with the MD tearing strength with a 5 unit with the tearing sheet and strength with the 1 over the lower tensile strength with the lower tensile strength with the MAD plus with the CD and more than 4 unit with the multiplied number of the wall of the bag with permitted with the provided lower tensile strength with the compensate with the increase with the total strength with the tearing strength with the MD plus the CD 5 unit tensile strength with a unit 1 unit lower than tensile total tensile strength. Section 10, continue for the multiple wallpaper bags made with the paper that described on the table A and B with allowable to compensate with the variation strength with the requirement that is filed with the tensile strength lower MD tensile strength not more than 10 with the unit with the number of the wall within the bag will be permitted to provide with the lower tensile bearing strength compensate and with the CD tensile strength with the 1 unit tensile strength with each 5 unit with the lower tearing strength. Lower total tearing strength with the MD plus CD with not more than 20 units of multiplied number of the wall of the bag permitted with the provided lower tearing strength of the compensate with increase with the total tensile strength MD plus CD 1 for the tensile strength of each of the 5 units low with the tensile strength variation. Wet tensile strength is not permissible. Table C, Table D. For multiple wallpaper bag with made with the paper that's described in the table, the G and the D allowable to compensate the variation strength with the requirements is filed with the tensile and energy absorbed in the lower CD tensile the energy absorbed with not more than half a unit multiplied by the number of the wall of the bag with the permitted to provide with the lower tensile energy absorption compensate with increase with the MD tearing strength with the 20 unit with the tearing strength with the 1 unit more than 1 unit multiplied by the number of the wall within the bag will be permitted to provide with lower tensile strength with the energy absorption compensated by increase with the total tearing strength with the MD plus CD with the total 2 units of tensile strength with the 1 unit of total tensile energy absorption. Tearing strength with the lower MD tearing strength with no more than 10 units multiplied with the number of the wall of the bag permitted to provide with the lower tensile strength with the compensator with the increase with the CD tensile energy absorption 1 unit of the energy absorbed within each 20 units lower than tensile strength with the lower total tearing strength with the MD and CD not more than 20 units multiplied with the number of the wall of the bag will be permitted to provide lower tearing strength and compensate with the increase with the total energy absorption CD plus MD with the 1 unit of the total energy strength absorption of 200 units lower tensile tearing strength. The variation of the tensile strength absorption is not permissible.
I have roast chicken. I have fried red potato salad or regular red potato salad.
All right.
I have taco meat and rice.
Okay. All right.
And everything's done.
All right. Where paper bags are provided in separate description of the article with the shipping container, they must conform with the minimum base weight with a table that you shall be made with the number applied with the craft paper to be either the test requirements table F and G made with a note 1 craft with the paper meeting the requirement of the multiple wallpaper. The paragraph C modified the note 1 bags must be securely closed so to carry the content safely and prevent shifting. And then show the tables. Alright, and then we're going to cut the tape here.